to help, people generally don't make excuses about being too busy or being too short of cash, even though they might not have much. They throw themselves into the task, whether it's helping one family or banding together to do something that the local community needs, such as building a school or getting money for a marriage, like you just mentioned. Everyone works together to make sure the job is done. And that's because this idea of Harambee, everyone chipping in, has been popularized, one, by the Prime Minister, two, it's how the railway originally began, three, it's now the national team, Harambee Stars, the football team, the plane, everything is all about chip in, because if the government's not going to do it, does that mean it shouldn't get done? Or do we make it happen no matter what? And I think we can all learn from that philosophy. So thank you, Shelley.
Thank you. And so Harambee? Harambee. Harambee. Harambee is exactly what we're about to do right now, because what happened remarkably at our breakfast together was we put three amazing pieces together. One was the World Food Program. The second was a man named Julius Mwali, and we have someone from his organization that has been instrumental in his organization from day one, that believes in giving people land to farm on and teaching them how to farm, not handing out the food, but teaching them how to farm, because that's how we create generational change. And so she's going to come up and we're going to talk about that, but putting Mr. Mwali in the mix. And Mr. Mwali introduced me to this amazing man, the senator, who is doing amazing work. He's also called the King of the Maasai, with helping women farmers. And so if you think about agriculture, female farmers, food, economic empowerment gives girls education. Education is freedom. And all of a sudden we said, wow, this is a remarkable 3-point triangle. And so I would love to introduce you to the senator and to Christine. Please join us. And this is called Togetherness. Harambee.
See if I can just look What's it yours?
Wait.
Why don't you sit here and I'll go over there? Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah.
He will share a mic. Okay, so we had this incredible breakfast and we started talking about, well, how can we, close the hunger gap, and how can we give women economic empowerment, and how can we, give women the money also that will stay safely in their bank accounts, which we thought blockchain, great idea. And then how can we really transform a culture and really give women that power? And it all came down to education. And then I meet this incredible man. So, Senator, will you just introduce yourself?
Yes. Thank you very much, Shelley and David. Nice to see you again. My name is Ledam Olekina. I'm a senator in Kenya. I represent the Maasai in Narok County, where, of course, after this conversation, all of you will be buying your tickets to come into Kenya, where the famous Masai Mara Game Reserve is. And I went to school in America, and I'm the first African to ever walk across America. I've educated over 25,000 women, taking them to school, taking them to primary school, secondary school, and university. I've got a lot of girls in the US. I worked with great women, and I was very happy to meet Shelley because she's an amazing woman who cares about the women. And my life has always been about women. So I come from a community where women have always been treated as second class. Women do not have the power. But because my mother played a big role to me, and I'm a father of daughters, I decided that I'll dedicate my life in making sure that I educate the women. So as a senator, it's a bit difficult for me because my work is mostly on policy, but I've looked at ways that we can realign our own existing resources and allow the women in our community to be able to work. When I met Julius Mwale, I was moved by what he has been able to do to the women in in Western Kenya. And together we say that we're going to make sure we change lives. And I was so taken aback when I was listening to David, because David was talking about what exactly we are doing. We are looking at agriculture. Agriculture is the future. We are looking about on the dairy sector. The dairy sector is the future. If you come to my community, a Maasai woman would milk her cow. She would get about 5 liters of milk. She would take that milk to a collecting point. That collecting point will pay her 20 cents a liter. So for the whole day, for she will only make $1. And then sometime it will take about 3 or 4 weeks before she can get paid. And then the processor will take that milk, and then for the same $1, he will make $5 more or even $6 more. So I just said enough. We have to make sure that women are the ones who taking this milk, processing it, and make sure that they get that dollar that the processor was getting. So I don't know whether that's a good introduction.
Which is a wonderful introduction. And it opened up the conversation of what if we could localize the production of milk so that these women could actually benefit and not just get the 20 cents, but get the $5, which would go a long way. So that was the beginning of the conversation at breakfast. Now cut to the chase. Christine is here. Mr. Mwali is stuck on on an airplane and had pilot issues. But Christine is an amazing representative. I would love for you, Christine, to talk about how Mr. Mwali, and I just want to give a little background. I met Mr. Mwali about 3 years ago, which was remarkable. And after we met, he gifted us 4,000 square feet of space in his first smart city, MMTC, to educate women. And it was, really quite an honor, and one that we will take quite seriously, and on a farm, in farming and agriculture. His story, Mr. Mwali's story, really was he grew up in Kenya, left, went to the United States, and I'm abbreviating the story because I want to get to where we're going with this, but is the creator of biometrics and had this brilliant idea in 9/11 to protect banks and security and all of that. And of course, his life lesson and his life legacy is to end hunger in Africa as well. And so welcome, Christine. Go ahead.
Thank you.
to
Thank
jump
you.
in.
Yes. So my name is Christine Allen. I'm here representing my boss, Julius Mwale. I'm the project manager from Mwale Medical and Technology City and a special assistant to Mr. Mwale on matters of women empowerment. So I'm very happy to be here today with all of you. Basically, so MMTC, Mwale Medical and Technology City, real quick, I won't go too into detail, but it's a $2 billion sustainable city that we've built in Western Kenya. And we're known for a 5,000 bed hospital and green energy. We're off grid, it's renewable power, but we do a lot of work with the community as well. So like Shelley told you, we've given Female Quotient space in our technology park to be able to promote women empowerment and educate, give opportunities to women there. And we also do work in agriculture because any city needs agriculture. You have to feed people. And so what we've done in Kenya has been so well received that there are communities all over Africa that have now requested for us to come and help them also build and develop their home communities and develop also their agriculture. So we have 18 different projects in 12 different countries all over Africa. And that's a total of about 4 million acres. And so, Shelley introduced us to David Beasley over there that you've met earlier, head of the World Food Program. And we are, working with them to put 1.5 million acres of land in Africa under agriculture, under cultivation. We're working with women to be able to, we're working with women farmers to be able to empower them to do the food production, and at the same time then solve some of the issues related to world hunger, because I think you said that 80% of the food that you procure goes to Africa. Is that correct?
It might be a little different now because of Syria, Yemen, and
Okay.
Afghanistan and Ukraine. It's probably a little lower now.
Okay.
But generally, that's the rule
Right.
of operation.
Right. So a lot of the food that they're procuring goes to Africa, but our job as private sector is to facilitate the work of the UN World Food Program and make sure that we're also able to do more production in Africa. So we're looking forward to developing that partnership further.
You're not going to solve hunger through charity. It's got to be with the private sector and the private sector empowering women. And so when we were at your house, I mean, you could feel the energy. And Julius was like, okay, we got a partner. We got to end hunger in this country and we got to do this. And I said, oh my gosh, this is so fantastic. And there's no doubt in my mind, Africa can not just feed Africa, which right now is an import nation for food, which is really disgraceful. Africa can feed the entire world.
Absolutely.
And if we empower the women and put the transparency and all the rule of law in place, oh my gosh. But Kenya, just real quick, when we started the school meals program in Kenya, and you know, we're the world's largest provider of school meals, independent of government itself. And so what we don't want to do that forever. We want to crank it up, prime the pump, and eventually turn it over. In a lot of countries, you never turn it over. Kenya took over the whole thing and is operating itself, and it's just a great success story because of leaders like the king right here, Senator.
So King,
And Julius.
let's talk about, just give everyone what we're doing on July 13th.
So July 15th, July
15th.
13th is when I would like for all of you to come to Kenya. We're doing
That's the date in
something
my head. I'm going July 13th.
which is great. It's going to be a revolutionary movement because what we want to do is we're bringing 3,000 women together from all across 15 counties in Kenya. All these women have one thing in common. They have cows, they have camels, and they produce a lot of milk. In Kenya, we produce about 1 billion liters. I was shocked. I thought it was like 458 milliliters until my team carried out the research. So we produce a billion liters of milk. Of that, about 30% of that or 40% of that come from the pastoralist community. So instead of giving charity, instead of giving these women money or food during hunger, you need to be able to empower them, because when you empower them, you give them a voice. So what we've decided to do is that on this 15th, we have come up with a concept of a milk plant, a mini milk plant in a container. So it's got a chiller that receives the milk. It's got a pasteurizer with a homogenizer, and then it's got a packaging plant. Those women who have cows and who are farmers can be able to process their milk there and sell it around the market which are around there. So on July 15th, what we're looking for are partners, because this issue of a dependency, I'm really sick and tired. When you make someone dependent on you, you kind of kill their morale. You don't give them the ability to be able to speak out for them. Because the women in Kenya, the Maasai women, the pastoralist women, are the same women who have to go in and work on a daily basis to raise money to pay school fees for their kids. So on the July 15th, we're bringing all these women, we're demonstrating to them what they can be able to do, and hopefully we can be able to bring in partners who will make it possible for us to be able to build at least 30 mini plants. Once you build these 30 mini plants, each and every plant can be able to process a minimum of 5,000 liters of milk a day. So if you do the math properly, that woman would be able to go home with a lot of money. And the market out there will be able to absorb that milk because the milk is not there. Then as we progress, because all these women come together and they work together. I love the spirit of Harambee that you spoke about. That is what really raised me, where people come together. But this Harambee, you've got to have an end to it. You've got to make sure that the women are more independent. And the only way that that woman can be independent is allow her to realign her small existing resources, allow her to take her milk, process it, sell it to the market. And the day that I got this idea is that I was standing in my mini plant and I could see truckloads and truckloads of 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 liters of milk on a daily basis. But the women who work so hard to graze these cows, to make sure they protect them, they feed the cows, end up only getting 20 cents. So to me, I thought that is the worst form of humanity, in humanity, and we have to change that. So, and when you talk about hunger, up in the north, in the northern Kenya, the camels eat anything. But every year, the whole counties are littered with carcasses of dead animals and human beings. So for us to be able to end that, we have to make sure that we empower them. Let's process that milk. Let's ship it to the market, because we are a population of about 50 million in Kenya alone. So with 50 million, when you bring 3,000 women to sit together, talk to them, empower them, give them resources to be able to set up their own mini plants, you change the world.
And they see they're not alone. Let me add, because this is extremely important. At the World Food Program, historically, we would just bring food in from the outside, from the United States or wherever. Well, okay, that helps a little bit, but it really can be counterproductive. What we found, where there's enough market, if we can stimulate the market,
Yes.
so women, okay, if we gave them cash, then they can go to their other friends, say, hey, I'll buy your milk.
Yes.
I'll buy your cheese. I'll buy your grain. And so we now do $2.3 billion worth of cash-based transfers, of which half of that goes to women's empowerment. Half of that. And so then we will go to a village and say, all right, instead of like on the school meals, instead of bringing the food from the outside, we'll get with the women. It's the women. Say, all right, we want to work on increasing the nutritional value of the school meals, and we want to help change your cultural habits so you're growing the right vegetables for your children. So we are going to work with you so that you can grow the vegetables, and we call it homegrown school meals, and we buy it from the women who bring it to the school, and it jumpstarts economic opportunity, empowers them how to cook better in terms of more nutritional value and how to get the market going, because then they're also selling out into the marketplace. So these dynamics are exactly the success stories that truly is changing the world.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
And it's you can't make this up too, because we also talked about if we can, employ the women, we can give economic empowerment, we can do education. I've been in the Mara many times and talking to the mamas of the village, and I can't even lift the water on my back empty.
They'll carry water.
They will carry the jugs full, double packs of jugs, and their babies in the front. And I really couldn't even do it by myself with the jugs empty. And and how many miles they're walking without shoes. By the way, I'm just saying, by the way, next year in January, I told you we're making a farm here. So it'll be farm to table, and the food will be sourced from,
Absolutely.
Africa. So, and you'll all be having cheese from the mamas, from the milk and all of that kind of stuff. It'll be here in January. But yesterday, and we talked about it because I want to have an emblem. I said, gosh, if I could just get State Street with Fearless Girl, but let's make the Fearless Farmer and tell the story of how important economic empowerment is and education, because education changes the trajectory of everything. And who shows up in our lounge last night? State Street. I'm like, you can't make this up. And I said, oh, I was just going to call you guys. Can you make us a Fearless Farmer? But we have to, make it with the right, designs from that the African women design. And they said, absolutely. So we have a big meeting to get our statues, because I want to put that on the lands that we're going to develop, where you unlock the story of how important it is so that we can change the mindsets. And that's how change happens. And then I said, well, we need the first ladies, because we need the first ladies of Africa.
Yes, they're coming.
And of course the senator says, but they're all coming. And then Virginia from World Food Program says, and I know the other parts of them. And next thing you know, we got the 47 first ladies of Africa. We now have states. We're going to have a Fearless Farmer. We're going to tell the story. We have the land from Mr. Mali. We have the senator who's going to, bring all of these things together. And then of course we have the executive director, I call him CEO of World Food Program, Nobel Peace Prize winner, is going to bring this all home for us. And it is possible. It is doable, but it is with Harambee, and it is with togetherness. And so I just want to thank you guys for
Maybe
everything,
if you allow me to put one more
and
thing.
invite everyone.
I think what these women lack is a seed money to begin, and that's, for me, is very, very important, because the whole project, we're looking for about $2 million to jumpstart it. Once you jumpstart it, so there's so many ways that you can get involved. You can sponsor the event on that particular day. You can also be able to come there and see these women, because some of the steps that I'm taking are things which I don't need to depend on the outside. We just need to realign our own existing resources. Because one of the things that really shocked me is that when I was driving up to come to Davos, I saw beautiful farms, I saw silage bags put in there. That is so new in Kenya today. And if you look at 1 ton of silage in Kenya, will cost you about $150 to buy. You know, it may not seem like a lot of money, but that $150 will feed a family. You'll be able to pay school fees for that child. So instead of these women coming to us on a daily basis saying, oh, we need money, give us money for school fees, give us money for hospital bills, we empower them so that they can raise that money. So I want to invite you to come in as sponsors, come in as investors, people who might think of investing in that community, because it is one that will not disappoint. They will get a voice, they will be able to vote. Right now, we are all seeking re-election. I'm seeking re-election as a senator. But the biggest problem that I have on the ground is a lot of people are used to being given money. If you can empower that woman will make that decision herself, that I'm going to vote for this person. I'm not going to vote for this person. I'm going to vote for this person because he or she has given me ideas to be able to end poverty, to be able to uplift the standard of living of my surrounding. So I really think that this is going to be a great step for us. And I think what Julia Smale is doing is something which is very inspirational. What Shaylee is doing is very inspirational. And I think with the World Food Program, with the UN, it's about time that we do things that really do not require quantum physics. You know, it's just simple. People are there and they work together. And I think, Shaylee, I want to thank you so much for bringing me all the way from Kenya to come here to be able to speak to these wonderful women. And I hope that on that particular day, when we have 3,000 women from 15 counties, people who may not speak your language, people who you will communicate with them somehow, because she did. She went there, she was not able to communicate, but she could tell this is the mama that makes the decision. And she was able to interpret and talk to her. She could connect. When you empower a woman, especially a Maasai woman, like my mother, you really change the entire world. And that's what I'm dedicated to do.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. So with that now, I would love to transition, and I would love for you, David, to talk. Thank you, guys. This is a place that we don't just talk about problems, but we activate solutions for change and come up with what we're going to do next so that we don't go backwards anymore, which will be fantastic. So I'm going to do something that I usually do, which is I don't follow the script. I break the rules a little bit. I know Linda's used to it.
I've learned the hard way.
She's learned the hard way. And so I'm going to do Linda last because I'm going to give you time to think about this for a minute, because I did give you guys a little heads up as you were sitting and chatting with Tara, who's wearing the hottest leather pants today. There you are. You gotta walk over here and show everyone. I actually, when I went to Procter & Gamble about 20 years ago, there was no women at the top, and I showed up and I saw this woman wearing leather pants walking into Procter & Gamble. And I said, oh God, she's in trouble. That's not going to fly at Procter & Gamble. She's not going to get past the reception area. And as it turns out, she was someone that was in my meeting, one of my girlfriends. And I said, Helen, what are you doing wearing leather pants? She said, I want to show you that I can break rules too. And that was the beginning of the whole conversation at Procter. Now we all wear leather to Procter.
And now we all know Shelley's been breaking rules for 20 years.
Yeah, why not? Anyone that wants to break rules, get the Chief Troublemaker t-shirt, and you can also become a rule breaker. It's not hard, right, Linda? We can teach them all. Okay, so let's start. Mercedes, if you say who you are, what you do, and then I'd like you to answer 3 questions. Number 1, what's your brag? Number 2, what's your gratitude? And number 3, what's your desire?
Wow. Okay. So I'm Mercedes Abramo. I am the president and CEO of Cartier for North America, which is US and Canada.
Just saying.
So brag has to do with that. I was actually the first woman and the first American in this role. So I don't say that out loud very often, but I guess I should brag about it more. Gratitude is that I would not have this role without a very inspiring male role model as a leader, and also a husband and 2 boys. So I'm surrounded by men who at some point along the way have been very supportive and very a strong sense of guidance for us and for me, and continue to be so now. And a desire. I guess my desire would be